Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue explore equestrian era's characters, which is horse-centric. And yes, we're talking about Gallop, and today we gallop again. So what's the difference between 此 Gallop versus 彼 Gallop? In English, it's the same Gallop, but Chinese differentiate that. Yesterday we talked about 池, which is this character that pair horse with vast space. So horse in free range galloping, that's 池. Versus 乘 is today's galloping. Simplified traditional, just the horse difference. But the right side, pronounced as ping, and we no longer use that as its own self-standing character anymore. So ping, according to scholars, means almost Robin Hood character in English. That's somebody who save the weak by fighting against the strong, the powerful, right? So who is kind of going against the grains of the societal hierarchical structure. So it's not necessarily kiss up, but it's the other way around. So it's, I would imagine in every culture, culturally, people appreciate such heroic figures who are not following the normal direction of how you orient yourself in the society, but you're going to serve justice, what you perceive as justice. Okay, so pink, how does that come as somebody who is like a Robin Hood structure? In Chinese, we call it xia, means somebody who is going to bring justice to the locals without government officials, like without official processing. So it's, xia, kind of our heroes. So it's made of you, which is the farm field, and then one pointer coming out. That means come from the farm field. That gives you the sense of you means the source of something. And the bottom is kui, pronounced as kui, and it actually means a puff of air from our lungs to the upper limit, which is heaven or outer world. So it's your action or your force or your breath acting onto your environment. So in English, we talk about agency. So this is the Chinese expression, just two strokes, horizontal line and a puff of air. That's your agency. And here we have come from the agency. So that's almost like ignoring the social structure. So heroes are probably make their own judgments, not based on what society tell them to do, but based on their own agency, what they see as justice. So this coming from your own air, coming from your own will, that's actually pretty hard to do because we're all wrapped inside the bubble. That's our culture, our political, power structure. So we live in it like a fish in a tank, right? You don't know you live in water kind of thing. So this, based on your own judgment, based on your own will, that paired with horse. That's the kind of galloping. It's so if the first, the 驰, means galloping freely or galloping spaciously, and this 乘 is galloping, well, later on, this galloping is regulated somehow or interpreted as galloping straight line because that's probably the fastest way to gallop. If you twist and turns, take different directions, you probably won't be able to keep your speed. But when we say 驰骋, it gives you the sense of running fast, have the speed element. Therefore, this 骋was perceived as running in straight lines because that's how you get fast. But after we unpack the right side, this ping character, that means you're coming out of your free will. So here, 驰 would be galloping spaciously, and 乘 would be galloping freely without confinement. And if we go up higher, it's like without confinements of a societal pressure. You gallop at your own will. So 驰骋, together become just Gallop until we unpack that they have subtle differences. 疆场 border field. Okay, what do you imagine what border field will be? Border field, most likely in ancient times, would be battlefield, because from the ruler's point of view, inside you don't really have much of a domestic conflict. Everybody is well governed, and you don't need to worry about kind of domestic terrorist kind of situation. But the most conflict or insecurity comes from the border. So that's why 疆场, in ancient times, even if we say border field, that implies or directly pointing to battlefield. That's where wars happen. It's not within your people. It's between you and another tribe, another culture. That's where the conflict zone is. 驰骋疆场. We talk about a horse gallop freely, quickly, spaciously on the border field, but mostly it's the warriors, the army that we're talking about. We're talking about human behavior here. So 驰骋疆场 almost shows you the quick maneuver of fighting force on your behalf, that they are galloping quickly on the border field. That means you can almost visualize it in an equestrian society. The cavalries, if you have a great army of galloping cavalries, it's almost like guaranteed you're going to win. You're on the winning side because you have quick horses. All right. 骋怀. So now we're talking about humans, because humans are the ones who have their mind, oftentimes galloping. So 骋怀, almost like in English, we probably would imagine, 骋怀, in my everyday language, I don't really use it, but I would view it in two ways. One is I could be ruminating, right? But when Chinese use 怀, that means it's not really your personal emotional processing. It's not like your trauma processing thing. But actually, on the other side, this is beyond yourself. It's not ego related. It's not about hurtful ego kind of going to therapists, to psychotherapy kind of thing. But instead, this 怀 most likely talking about your sense of mission, your sense of self-purpose that you can do in ancient times as due to your country, right? To your tribe. I mean, that's where we started. So for your community, let's put it that way. So 骋怀, this Gallop mind is almost like you talking or thinking about. This mind is thinking beyond your own scope. It's thinking about how you can change the world in your way. And supposedly it's changed for the better, right? So when you have such a galloping mind, then that's almost like you have a big, not exactly ambition, but probably vision for your people. So that's 骋怀. 逞能, both of them exactly same sound, different characters. And of course, when we are in our verbal communication, we have to depend on the context of what we're talking about. And even that, sometimes things get blurry, like which 逞 you talk about. Then sometimes the speaker would point out this 逞 we actually talk about. Well, I have to be honest, in today's language context, most often we use the second 逞, which means display ability. So display, that means perform. That means you intentionally put in front of people, behave in a certain way, exactly as if it's a performance. It's not really, you're not really doing it out of your own galloping like this, your free will. You're doing it for the audience. So the source of motive does not come from what you want to do, what you think is best, but what you perceive other people want to see you to do. Okay, so that's the 逞能. It's a difference. It's a performative. Versus this first 逞能, this comes from free will. And this free will actually may not do your good, at least short-term wise, right? Because you're going to go against the grains of society, right? If you're going to fight the powerful on behalf of the people who need the more protection, then that's kind of self harming way, almost like you take this burden and sacrifice your own safer security so that you stand up for your people, your community. So that's 逞能. It's two very different. One is self-interested, one is other interested. And even if they sound the same, it's almost like meaning the opposite. So there we go, 逞 galloping. And well, I got it from Unsplash, but I don't know exactly where. But you see, it's kind of an Asian face. So I would imagine, people who can ride a horse can be so free doing the stunt on a horse. Got to be horse people, nomadic. So it's people from this steppe culture, at least in the same lineage, and can really gallop on a galloping horse like that. And you can see this kind of free willed because this person this is the 逞能 because this person is able to do that, and he freely probably is a kind of a show or performance in a whole setting, but because he can do it and do it out of his own view, right? I guess in here you can use either 逞能 to show this person's performance, either out of free will or performative. And even if it's performative, probably the motive to do that is not just for his own fame, right? But to continue the culture, to show people what synergy skill sets you developed by spending so much time with a horse that you really know what you're doing without getting yourself killed. Pretty edgy stuff that you can do there. So that's 逞. Thank you for your time. See you another day.